What's good, yo?
What's going on?
Happy to be here with y'all, man.
Yeah, thank you for coming on Nersy, the #1 stupidest podcast on the rap internet.
It's like the third stupidest. There are definitely stupider ones than this one.
I hope so. It's at least like intentionally stupid. And we are honored and blessed to be joined today by two titans in the game, Cavalier and Billy Woods. We are joined by me, Drew, and Trey, and our producer, Steel Tip Dove. All right, drink champ. Drink champ.
Insert applause for sure.
I don't think the mics pick up applause, which is better somehow. So yeah, what's going on, y'all?
Well, Cav's album has been out for a few days. We played Rockefeller Center, a very strange weed party that Alchemist was performing at. New York City Department of Education has given my child the next 10 days off of school, so the calm before the storm. This might be the last interview I ever do.
Spring break? Spring break?
This kid has nowhere to go.
It's spring break?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Starting today. Yeah.
They have it for like a week and a half, right?
Yeah, till the 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have like 2 spring breaks now. That's fucking insane.
Oh my God, they're too soft on kids these days.
Nah, I was talking to a friend earlier about this, and like she's dating somebody who has a kid, and she's in like this like 11 years old, 6th grade, I guess. And like they don't even read like books anymore, man. They just read like short stories on the tablets and shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not bad for anything in the future. Like these are going to be the people taking care of us when we're old, and I'm not scared about that.
I mean, to be honest, if the worst thing that's happening is that they're reading books on tablets instead of on paper, that's okay.
Bro, they're not reading books. They're reading short stories.
Well, I mean,
these motherfuckers reading like 3 pages at a time, and like, oh yeah, I learned something from that, and it's like, yeah, nah, man, pick up To Kill a Mockingbird and shit, man. Yeah.
I'm in a different battle. I have a boy child. I have a little kid. He's a boy, but that means that I'm gonna end up in a nursing home.
Oh yeah, he's not gonna.
That's dark.
Yeah, when you have a daughter, that's when you get taken care of. So
how old is your son?
He's 4. So nice knowing you guys.
Okay, great.
You're gonna be in a nursing home next year, goddamn. You're gonna be able to put you in there. Yeah.
He put me in there now if he could.
You can smoke that for a second. Need to lean back. But yeah, that's it. It's turned into spring.
Not today. Today was bullshit. Today was not good weather.
Are you what?
Yeah, please explain that.
I can't explain it. It's fake ass bullshit. I want it to be warm. I need the heat of the sun to radiate through the whole air. Not just when it touches you. You go around the corner, you're in the shade for 1 minute, and it drops 20 degrees. I'm being very ridiculous.
That's bad weather. Today was bad weather.
Personally,
okay, so I wake up at 8. I wake up by 8 a.m. every day. I wake up by 8 a.m. every day. I go have like a spliff on my stoop, and it's cold as shit because we're in the shade at that point, right? And so I dress up for like, oh yeah, it feels like it's 50 degrees, whatever, man. I hit the sun and I have to go back home and drop a coat off. Like, yeah. I love this weather, man. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, today is objectively, at the very least, like kind of nice. Like bad weather. Just an asinine statement. Doesn't make any sense.
I am standing. I agree.
Okay, so then what is the weather? What is the weather when it's like 10 below?
Well, even more.
That's
than
bad. That.
I mean, that's hellish. So
yeah, maybe his scale is like the Richter. Like maybe it gets exponentially, like maybe bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that's the point at which
it's just a personal affront. I'm taking the weather.
But so today was like a 3.8, and what Joe's talking about is like a 9.1.
Yeah, I'm taking the weather as a personal affront. I need it to be like above 60 even at night.
You got to write your congressman, yo. You got to tell him
You
to
guys
stop fucking
know
with
about
Yeah,
Do you guys know
get that
about
weather machine back up, man? Yeah.
Do you guys know about wet bulb temperatures? It's
did
like
he?
it,
I do. I've heard of that actually.
it's what happens when it's like really hot and really humid, and like the environment will basically like choke your skin on your sweat because it won't evaporate.
So I live in New Orleans, and
Okay.
they actually report that index pretty regularly because you're living in the devil's armpit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which ward are you in?
I'm in the 12th ward.
All right. My mom grew up in 7th Ward, yeah.
I used to live in the 7th ward for a while.
Yeah, it's nice over there, man. Well, not
Pe-
nice. but,
People
like,
think I'm from the 7th ward the way I look. They often think that's until I start speaking.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you started saying a bunch of like bibs and shit, I wouldn't bat an eye. How'd you end up down there?
Raps and following around Quelle and Iman Omari and Solange had put Iman's record on her compilation to launch, I guess, her boutique label, and added Iman to tour dates. And Quelle, myself, and Iman were in musical union at that point for a few years. So that window that we were circling around begat Higher Loops, Lemonade, Private Stock, songs on Being You Is Great for Quelle, and Iman Omari's Ahi album, which I did songwriting on.
Okay.
So that was our New Orleans, alchemic experience.
And you just liked it so much you stayed.
Just
you
life
still
shit.
up down
Life. I had never encountered New Orleans before that. Had no desires to go. Not that I was opposed to going. I just never thought of it. And the confluence of those things, in life, just personal life things, had me there. And then 2019, I became a dad in New Orleans, and now I'm tethered there. My son is from New Orleans. So it's that's where I reside currently.
Yeah, you got a little Creole baby.
I mean, I don't know if he's that, but they probably think he's that.
I mean, there's like also like a good DIY scene down in New Orleans, and obviously like a great rap scene. Like it like definitely punches above its weight in terms of like the music shit that's going on down there.
In terms of everything, when you realize how small New Orleans is as a city, and how big its
Influence.
mythos, then you realize it's been that, and that's kind of part of its identity in a way too.
Like New Orleans
You
is
have
kind
to-
of like the sound of America in some ways, based on like what's come out of there, who's come out of there. Like, yeah.
It is the birth of the sound of America. It is the birth. Let me rephrase that. It is the birth of American sound.
Yeah.
Did you have to learn the Napoleonic Code when you moved?
Oh no, fuck all that shit. No,
What's that?
they got Napoleonic laws still on the books in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they still have parishes, man. They don't have counties, they have parishes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to explain that, but if you're curious, just like go on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I can use Google.
Caribbean countries have parishes. So
Yeah,
a lot
Jamaica
of,
has
yeah,
parishes. So it's a different.
Yeah,
Kind of
Caribbean-
like when you go to Canada and they have provinces. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
a lot of former British colonies have provinces. The U.S. just left early and was like, we're changing everything. Just be different.
come to the county fair.
We go to county. Fuck a
I
province.
mean, I've had some good
I
times.
do
at
love a county
fairs.
fair, though. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, that might be the one good thing colonialism got us is a county fair, man.
No, I gave us a county
on.
jail.
Hold on,
They gave
hold
us
on.
that
What's
too.
Yeah,
what-
you get like a fucking.
What county fair have you been to?
The Westchester County.
I've been
fair.
to Maryland county fairs. I've been to New York county fairs. I heard the Texas one is like the one to go to.
Where was what Maryland County Fair? Where was it?
You from DC area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What part?
Well, the answer to that varies. I was born in Washington, D.C. in
Which
Northeast.
hospital?
Hospital doesn't exist anymore, but it was Children's Hospital.
Bruh, I was born in Howard.
Okay. So I'm
Right,
very
right.
super familiar. Super familiar. I've lived and spent time in the Howard. Spent time around Howard throughout my life, except when we were in Africa. But before we went down, my parents had moved from D.C. to Prince George's County, and then we went to Africa. And then when my mother and I came back from Africa, we lived in Silver Spring.
All right, yeah, I was raised in yeah.
Where?
Like Georgia Ave, University Boulevard.
Hold on.
You know where that like
what high school did you go to?
Is on University Boulevard.
You said a what?
The Taco Bell KFC on University Boulevard, right before you hit like William Plaza and shit.
I mean, I know where you're talking about on Georgia Avenue.
Yeah, that's around where.
Where'd you go to high school?
So my high school would have been either Blair or Albert Einstein, but I went to St. John's in the city.
Okay, lucky you. Yeah,
Not really, man. Like,
Albert Einstein. Come on, that's not.
Yeah, well,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah. Lucky me in terms of I could have been at Einstein, but I went to St. John's. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. I never been to the Maryland County Fair. What did you do? What were the highlights?
Zeppelis.
The demolition derby is like the big thing.
Okay.
Yeah, you also get like a funnel cake the size of your fucking head, if not bigger.
Okay. How old are you at this? If we're picturing this, how old are you?
Like anywhere from like 10 to 17 years old.
It's like 10 months ago.
Yeah, we're talking about last week, honestly. Yeah, nah.
He's like early in February, you know.
But yeah, the fucking Montgomery County Fair is sick. The Maryland State Fair, you got to drive a ways out for that one, but that's also very, very good.
None of y'all from New York, right?
Just a lot of like, you know, various crab dishes that you can buy from stalls, and yeah.
Nice.
Damn, see, I don't know about the Westchester County Fair commercials they used to play out here.
You ever go to Dutchess County Fair, Kev?
Nah, I didn't even know about that. They ain't have a commercial. See, I'm from Crown Heights. We could only experience the county fairs via commercials on TV.
Okay.
I have this like theory that I think that like states should trade state fairs. Like, I think it would be good if like South Dakota got the New York State Fair and like New York got the Florida State Fair. Like,
rotate all them bitches. Rotate all them bitches.
Don't want shit to do in New York, man.
The who?
No. Yeah, you rotate everything. Yeah.
That
like,
shit would be fire, actually.
This would create it seems like you'd have some problems there.
Anybody ever been to a powwow?
I've never been to a state fair though, so you know.
You ever been to a powwow?
No,
I've never been to a powwow.
Powwow is fucking lit, dog, and they be everywhere. I mean, kinda. They got one that happens super uptown. Like you don't even gotta leave the city. Like over in Dykeman area, I feel like, or maybe it's in the Bronx.
Crazy.
It might be in the Bronx.
What? And it's like a native powwow.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Where
they got one. They got one.
Where do they do it, and what do they do?
It's a park. Ah, man, the one uptown. I feel like it's in the summertime, and various nations come out. They dance. There's booths. It's a fair. It's like that's what made me mention it. It's a fair. It's just that there's also going to be indigenous activities and highly represented. You know what I mean? But they have one in Long Island as well.
That would be
That's
a good album
amazing.
name, honestly. Like indigenous activities.
It's lit, dog. Powwows be fire.
Nice.
Like, and they like wear like the traditional stuff and
All that, dog. And depending on where you at, it's even, I'm sure, like, even a bigger affair, right? Because I've only been to powwows in the Northeast. I haven't been to a powwow, like, in the Southwest. You know what I'm saying? Or
well,
like
you live
the
in
Midwest.
you live in New Orleans, so like you've been around the Mardi Gras Indians and shit.
Different.
Like, it's like there's
That's different.
similarities and differences.
It's very different.
Okay.
There's similarities, maybe visually, but the masking, the Mardi Gras Indians, that's a different tradition.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Word.
I'm just here, Ronan.
What was that?
As the world turns, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean,
do the rolls of my weed.
I'm from Western North Carolina, and I went to school in Chapel Hill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
So you're
go
close. Are
Heels.
you like close to Knoxville?
Shit. I think Knoxville in East Tennessee, or
Oh, I know it can't be too far from North Carolina. So you never went to Knoxville?
no? I went to Pigeon Forge a lot when I was a kid.
That's in
which is-
Tennessee.
Yeah, it's like the Myrtle Beach of the Tennessee mountains, and
What does that mean?
Wait, but you talking about that? Got to be a lake beach then, right?
Yeah, like Tennessee landlocked as hell, man. What are you, yeah.
That got to be a lakefront beach.
no, it's not a beach. I just mean
He didn't
in
say it was
terms
a
of,
beach. He was just
vibe.
saying the vibe and
Okay.
and it's
Gotcha.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
actually a beach.
Yeah,
But
there's a dollar.
don't go telling Canadians that that lakefront areas are not beaches.
Yeah, I'll tell them that all the time. They can stay their asses up.
I mean, in
Why-
fairness
why
to
is it
them,
not a beach? It's a
I was
beach.
pretty skeptical about it. But then,
I've been to some
You go to
fire
some of
lake
them,
beaches.
and
I've been
it's
to
just-
fire lake
Saying.
beaches.
I mean,
before.
also the beach. Like, let's say you're on Lake whatever, fucking Ontario
Mm-hmm.
on the Canadian side. There's waves kind of happening.
Yeah, it's a beach.
It's there's like there's a horizon.
You can't see the other
There's
side.
a horizon where you can't
There's
see the other
sand meeting
side.
water.
There's sand
Yeah,
meeting
yeah,
water.
there's a
You can see the
shore.
I had to
If you can see the
back
other
off
side,
a
not
little
beach.
bit.
Yeah, that's one of my firm beliefs. If you can see the other side of the water, it is not a beach.
Okay, that's fair.
Nah, that's not fair.
It depends because if you can see the other side of the water, it might be a bay.
Yeah, but you could also just be close to somewhere else and be in a beach. Like Long Island is a beach,
Wait, so
and you
what?
can see Connecticut.
So
That's
if there's
true.
You
sand
see
on
what
the
I'm saying?
ground and
You
the
could be in
shore-
Trinidad and see Venezuela.
I've already decided to not stand on whatever. I
Yeah,
briefly
I'm
saw
in
some
my
logic in what he
mid-30s,
said,
and I'm
but
firm. in
I'm
I'm not
you
changing
know,
right now. Yeah.
and also too, like, anyway, New York is unique, right? Maybe more like Seattle in a way. You're not touching the mainland in the United States until you get to the Bronx. The whole time
Yeah,
you're in New York, you're island hopping.
Yeah.
This is an archipelago. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's multiple of them, like the Pelham Islands. You just got to know where you at in New York. But there's over a dozen islands in New York that you just be moving through all the time or moving past. You may only go to 2 of them or 3 of them at a time, but you're island hopping the whole time. You're moving past the others.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But there's a shitload of, like, just New York City alone is like, what, like 14 of them shits? Something like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Crazy.
I
All
still
beach.
believe in what I said, but that's a good point.
Yeah. East River ain't even a river.
don't allow overwhelming evidence to sway you from a hastily made position.
Yeah. East River's not a river, man.
Then they've really won once they can make you do that.
From
I
one
need to
professional
tell-
to another.
I need to tell you guys this because I pitched an article on this and they never got back to me. But do you guys know that Shine, speaking of like Caribbean
Yes.
nations,
Yes, I
he
do.
is okay. Yes, he is the opposition leader of the Belizean, like conservative party.
Party, yeah.
What?
Well, he's all right. So he's from a Caribbean-esque Central American nation.
No, wait, well,
Yes.
it is a Caribbean nation.
It is, but that's a weird. I don't know. Personally, I think that's a weird racial thing when they do that.
No, it's cultural. They speak English there.
Yeah,
They
Belize
don't
was
only.
the
they
No,
don't-
not only,
they,
but
they
that's-
speak Garifuna there. And
No,
English.
But the same reason we say Latin America, Puerto Rico is part of Latin America
The reason why I think that
because
is
it's
because
linguistic.
I feel that.
That
but,
doesn't mean everybody in the
No, no,
place
no.
speaks that. you
But
know,
then
obviously.
this is where it gets weird. Puerto Rico's Caribbean. It's in the Caribbean.
Yes, it is in the
Right?
Caribbean.
And so is Quisqueya, right?
And
they speak
Belize
2
is
languages
also
on there.
Belize is also in Central America, but not. We're talking about Belize.
We
Yeah,
are, but you
Yeah,
see what I'm
yeah.
saying?
but Belizeans culturally have so much in common with Caribbean culture because it's the same. It's the same culture.
No, that's not true either.
I guess
That's totally wrong.
Belizean people I grew up with, it's like Trinidad and Jamaica are not the same
At all.
But a Trinidadian or Jamaican find themselves in the other person's country, things culturally are similar in the same way. Like if you go from Germany to France.
Yeah,
Western Europe.
I don't know if Germans
agree with that.
No, it's one of
Do you
those
think
things
they think
where, like,
that? You think Germans and French
ahead,
think that about each other?
It depends where they are. If they find themselves, if a German person and a French person,
Because you can't call a Franc a Swede.
If a German person and a Swiss person find themselves in Kentucky, they're gonna be like, yeah, let's talk about Europe.
That part, yes.
You know, just like you.
But that's what I was.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what I was getting to. That's the condition. I think what you're talking about is an American thing. When you get to America, it's like West Indian people. It's like
No.
Caribbean
What I think what I'm saying is that because you have, first of all, your differences are highlighted. You know, like African immigrants. If you're here and you lived in or from Africa, you meet other African immigrants, you instantly feel more kinship because you have things in common here that other people don't normally have. You know what I mean?
So that's what I'm saying. In America, though.
But doesn't have to be in America. You could be an American and be in South Africa and meet another American and be like,
no, but that's
it's
my
funny
point.
It's funny to just be. There's certain jokes you could make because the person's American that you can't. Like my friend lives in Japan, and when I came there to do a show, he was like, he was down to hang out all the time. He was like, man, making puns, I don't ever get to make a pun. You know, people speak English. He speaks English to people, but you can't make a pun. You know, you can't make jokes about like old sporting events. You know, like people aren't gonna get your joke about the Buffalo Bills. You know, and so when you're out, the same way I feel like culturally there's a shared aspects to Caribbean culture that are different from other parts of the Black diaspora, African diaspora.
Should I weigh in? Should I weigh in on this? Probably, guys.
I would love to hear your opinion on this.
Let me. We might not have
I'm
enough
so
time.
glad
actually.
that
I could go way too
You
long.
said fake Caribbean. Yeah.
Drew, you go immediately.
I didn't say fake
No,
Caribbean.
you didn't say fake.
I
You
didn't
said
see.
kinda.
Nah,
No, you said kinda.
because I only was pushing on it not because of their legitimacy as being Caribbean. I was pointing at it at this weird veiled American racial, this Western racial thing. Because we find camaraderie, that's my point, that it's when we're outside of these countries and we're grouped together that we find camaraderie. That happens with a lot of Asian people in the Americas. You might like, you go to Asia and like, Chinese people hate Japanese people, you know what I'm saying? But the reason why I specify that is because it gets into these weird games that are actually, in my opinion, problematic. Like Guyana is not part of South America now, right? Because there's black people there or something.
But Guyana.
No, but I'm not saying to us, but that's how Westerners, that's how they start to speak about countries like Guyana, or like when they start doing things like how they break apart IMF funding and weirdo shit. Now it's a lot of weird dynamics, yo, because certain countries will allow certain things and other countries will not, right? So South American countries allow basically slavery, right? Jamaica allows part of Jamaica to essentially do slavery, right? The free zone in Jamaica is basically like legal slavery. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm not prepared to surrender that point without looking it up. But what I would say is that at the end of the day, there's like cultural commonalities that I think make those places interesting. Because the other thing is, yeah, the shared history as part of the British West Indies. You know, even my mother's birth certificate, like my birth certificate, lists both of my parents' place of birth as places that don't exist anymore.
Wow.
My mother was born in the British West Indies, not in Jamaica, on paper. My father was born in Rhodesia.
It doesn't exist.
Neither of these places on paper exist anymore. And so there is that. It's also interesting it's interesting to me, the Caribbean, the linguistic and cultural divide, but yet people have traveled through it. Like lots of Jamaicans and other West Indians worked on the Panama Canal, and lots of people stayed there.
It was mainly Jamaicans, Trinidadians, and Bajan men, mostly, that went. That's part of these weird, like, big employment opportunities, you know? for you to move around.
Yo, what's crazy is when I worked in a staffing firm once, and we would have to clear people's backgrounds to get them work, and there was a lot of nurses, and they would turn in their education, diplomas, degrees, and things like that. And if it was international, a lot of those places had been shut down, didn't even exist anymore.
Wow.
All the number. And so, yeah, so kind of like what you were saying, Woods, before about like on paper, they had this paperwork, they gave it to us, but there was no way for us to verify it, like, and get in touch with these places anymore.
My bad to change this podcast to a completely different show. It's like I hit the blunt, but I'm into nuance.
For so long, you know how long I've been the only black person on this podcast.
Yo, the nuance to me is important because that is not dissimilar in my opinion. And this came up when Woods and I were on another podcast about how they codify, where people external of certain things get to codify those things. That's dangerous to me, right? When people outside of your culture get to codify and canonize your shit and define it and what it is, you get situations like the powwow where, like, you know, where there's non-feather recognized nations that aren't legally Native American groups, I guess, right? Like, why? Because you get all these weird things, man, and it's usually some bullshit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This what I mean, though, and I'll end it on this note about what I'm getting at. What's Puerto Rico then? You see what I'm saying? Right?
Puerto Rico.
We act like it's part of the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an island with no sovereignty that was a nation before.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's people in Puerto Rico with high percentage Taino ancestry, way higher than a lot of American with certified Native American ancestry, but that enjoy the perks of being classified as Native American, right? So how come there's no is Taino feather recognized? So that's why I'm like, this shit is weird when they start doing that type of shit. You see what I'm saying? That's all. It's just
But
weird.
aren't we then getting into the area of like how history and, you know, hybridization and the formulation of identities, because so Puerto Rico is part of the United States, but is also part of Latin America and is also part of the Caribbean. But it could also be those things. Now, how those things are discussed is important, and how they're conceptualized is important. But like, just like places can be a lot of things, you know?
That is true. Because what's Brazil?
Absolutely.
That's when people be talking about Latin America, I'll be like, so what's Brazil? Brazil is not part of the Caribbean.
No.
Is it part of Latin America?
Yes.
Why? They not speaking.
Portuguese is a Latin.
You talk to Brazilians, and a lot of them call themselves Latinos. Yeah.
No, but
That's new to me.
Portuguese and Spain come from the same place.
It's all right.
And Spanish. It's Latin America.
Portugal, just the Delaware of Spain's Maryland, you know?
Although a different.
Yeah, it's like they're different, but like, it's, you know, y'all lucky we didn't take them over. Yeah.
Portuguese Africa is interesting as well.
My grandfather's from
Like Angola and shit.
Oh, really?
He's from Madeira.
You know, I think I was supposed to go there. And then
Madeira is to Portugal what Sicily is to Italy. Madeira is a big island off the coast.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I'm going to Porto later this year.
That's fire.
I went to Lisbon. That was some of the worst weed I've ever smoked.
But you have to do it.
People were nice.
You know, so ritualistically. I have a rule. So far, I've smoked weed every country I've ever been. Everywhere I've gone. Places you're not supposed to. India, Panama, Tokyo.
Hold on. You're telling me you're going to go to Dubai and smoke weed? I'm not.
I'm
not gonna say that on this podcast. I'm not gonna say that on this podcast.
If we're in Thailand and you got weed, man, I got to go.
It may not be how you think. It may not be how you think. Maybe I just breathed in weed.
I got to remove all possibilities. They said that going wrong, but I do understand. Obviously, people smoke weed and do.
Come on, Singapore is more where I'm like, ooh. Singapore, they pull up on you, make you take your shades off, look in your eyes type shit.
Yeah, China, Singapore, various places.
Special agent.
You know, Dubai,
international
Saudi,
man, international man of piftery. You know what I'm saying?
Saudi, come on, man.
You gotta somehow. They told me in Panama, like, no, you can't. I was like, all right. India, they were like, nah, you ain't gonna find it. I was like, all right.
Hold on, but India is full of weed.
All right.
Yeah,
It's
it
Indian.
It grows on the
It's
side of the road
Indian
someplace.
people who brought
I know.
weed to
I
the
know
Caribbean.
this. But everyone is there's colonizing police everywhere. You know.
Oh
what
no,
I'm
I'm not saying that it couldn't get you in trouble. I'm just saying I know they got weed
saying? The
there.
weed it was weird and not fire, but I was like, the ritual has to continue.
Yeah, they
What do
got
you
weed
mean
there.
weird weed?
I mean, it
Like
looked like
bad
soil.
or like
Looked like
made
it
you
looked-
differently high?
It was
Both,
probably just
both.
terrible.
It was both. It was bad and it made me differently high.
You know, there's also places where people are growing weed and primarily it's then turned into hash. So like
Yeah.
smoking it as flower is bad times. You know,
That's-
like
yeah.
you do it, but it's not like that's not the culture. Like people are growing things for hash production, and that's just a whole different approach to curing. And every
Shaka
aspect.
King told me that he smoked weed in Kenya that looked like soil, and it was at the time it was the highest he ever been in his life.
how high elevation was he? Is what I would ask.
He wasn't high elevation.
He's in Kenya, so to start off with,
He wasn't
his
Kilimanjaro.
brain is
Terrain
vulnerable.
in Kenya.
His brain
It happened
is
to
vulnerable.
Ghostface. Ghostface went out there and came back talking about scientific. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's
Oh, he
Some
was
other-
he was at least 2,000 feet above sea level. Man.
come on, something be going. I smoked in Yosemite. That's high above sea level.
I mean, I've smoked in Denver, whatever.
Yeah,
that's
Mile
worth.
High City. I be going from New Orleans, which is the bottom underneath, high, and get on a flight and land in Colorado and get high. I've
Yeah,
done
I'm
that
just
multiple
taking
times.
I'm taking into
Oh.
account that if
That's
you,
like jumping in the elevator.
I'm just taking into account if I'm, getting high. So I don't know where he was in Kenya.
He was high for real. I believe him. Yo. He
I
smokes
believe he
real
was
weed.
high.
Yeah,
I
he was
believe
high as
that he
fuck.
was high.
I've smoked weed in Jamaica that had seeds and some raw stores like, yo, man, your blood clot. You know what I mean? And the shit hadn't me motherfucking
what are you
high as
talking-
fuck.
of course.
It didn't look cover
No, but I've
magazine. It wasn't on Vogue. But
I've
man,
gotten
There's
in
also
the
like a
mountains of
psychological
Jamaica, I've
effect.
gotten crazy weed, but there's several aspects. Sometimes I got the weed after not having good, either no weed or no high quality weed, because there's tons of trash weed in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And then there's Jamaican people don't all smoke weed.
no, they don't. Most of
And-
them
and
actually
lots
think
of
it
people
has
frown
many
on it a
bad
lot, and
stigmas.
it's
Yeah.
not cool. So you can't just be going around.
No, and
burning
you can't.
trees
And I
wherever you
almost
want.
got arrested in Jamaica for smoking weed.
Can be bad business. So it might have been 2 days. I've been in Jamaica 3 days. I haven't gotten high, and we're in the mountains. And then it's like walking up a path. Cousin leads you to the man, walk you through the field,
Right.
plants the sun. Come down. He has a little chopping block, cutting the weed with the knife.
Fucking mezzaluna.
Paper. Don't let them put some Craven smoked tobacco in there while you're not.
Grabba.
Yo, you
Grabba.
you're sent. You're gonna be sent.
I've
So
smoked,
I'm not
I've smoked
surprised.
fireweed in the Caribbean that looked very regular, but that got me very the fuck high.
And it was probably really fresh.
It was I smoked some weed in Trinidad that came in aluminum foil, and it was amazing. And I wasn't sober for 3 days. I wasn't, and $10 got me a lot.
Like I said, man.
Some people got higher grade. That's just regular,
for sure.
grown regular, but still a good,
For sure.
a good
And it's
guy.
also a lot of times people are growing sativas.
Definitely with
land-raised
sativa,
stains,
sativa
and if you're
e
not
weed.
used to like smoking a lot of sativas. Also,
That
you get out there.
That happened to a
smoke
friend
this
of mine.
in the
He
mountains and
got
shit.
lightheaded, smoking
And,
some
yeah,
strong sativa, some white zombie type shit or some shit like
I
that.
got fucked up out there. Definitely had some crazy experiences.
Wait, so where's y'all's like favorite weed from where y'all have smoked? Or where's like I guess your favorite place you smoked and then your favorite weed you smoked from a certain place?
The Pacific Northwest, I've had great, like, I don't know if it's my favorite place, but I've had like beautiful weed moments and tasty weed moments in the Pacific Northwest, just like really good smoke.
Nice.
But I be finding good smoke though. I found amazing smoke in places you're not supposed to find. I was
Clearly.
I started a I've been telling some people about this because you got to be entrepreneurial sometimes in this game. So I have
We can
Private-
cut this if you want to.
no, it's all good. I got a private investigation firm. Recently Quella
That didn't
even
sound right.
no,
That did sound right.
I got a
Jesus.
private investigation firm, and
What do you mean you have a private?
Yeah, I mean,
explain it.
some people, you know, get their LLC. I started a private investigation firm, and it's called Where the Weed At, and we on the motherfucking case, okay, all the time. We don't let up. You know what I'm saying? We're on the case, so just know I'm on duty even now as we speak. Okay, so
I was in Maine.
That
once.
was
I need you to start an app, bro.
I was in Maine once, and there was a weed delivery service that, because it was legal to smoke there, but not to sell or something. This was years ago, but the service was it was a weed recovery service. So what you do is you call them if you lost your weed, and they should be able to find it for you.
see what I'm saying?
And
I like them.
and
I like
so
them. I
for
like their business
$60,
model.
they could probably find you your lost eighth. For $100,
Oh, you lost
they
it?
could.
We got you. We got you.
We
We
know-
found it. We found it. Lost and found
Yeah, exactly.
for a small fee, a finder's fee.
Small fee.
A finder's fee. I support that business model, yo.
That sounds fair to me. I don't know.
It was a legal loophole.
Sorry.
Woods has something he wanted to share with you. Yeah.
No, I didn't get to answer your question.
The best, yeah.
It's funny because one of the highest I ever got was I was in Jamaica on the side of a mountain, relatively inexperienced in smoking crazy weed. 'Cause that's like East Coast, 90s East Coast. You know, I'm a teenager. Go up through the weed field. Cousin had back there. He had like several patches in the jungle, but the best one with any grower, the best one is always the one that's closest to them. You know, if somebody's growing outdoors, or if they're growing in their house. If somebody has a warehouse full of weed and they also have a grow room in their basement, the shit in their basement better every time. So anyway, this field right behind his house is where he got these buds. Chopped them up, smoked that, and like we were smoking as the sun was setting. So I was going back to my grandfather's house in actual night, and I'm talking about when it gets to night, it's like you can't see your hand.
Yeah.
You know, and there's things in the jungle moving around, and you're just like, or maybe they're all, you know, but either way, gone. That was problematic, but you know, I have to factor in some things around that, and I would say nowadays, honestly, if you know the right people, New York City, there's some fire nestled places. It's a sea of garbage, but some people have some good shit, and then some people have some crazy shit. But it's a sea of garbage. For consistent quality, I feel like quality versus price, you kind of got to go to Southern California. It's probably still the best. Or at least, yeah. I'd probably say Southern California is still the best. There's still lots of stuff out there that's not that great, but it doesn't have as much middling product flowing through it as Oregon. And if
I
you
like
want,
Seattle, man.
if you want something nutty, Seattle. See me? And then the third thing I was going to say is the favorite dispensary that I've been to in the U.S. was Archive in Portland.
Okay.
Not the cheapest weed you can get in Portland. It's like $300 a zip. A lot of weed in Portland is
way cheaper.
$100 a zip or cheaper. You know, absolute fire. And they'll let you mix and match yours. That like the zip is a cost, but it could be 8/8.
Yeah.
You can do what you want. Yeah, I fuck with them. That's my answer.
Nice.
Okay. I have a real question, and then I have a dumb question. Which one do you guys want?
Dealer's choice.
Do you guys have any advice for my dad? My dad listens to the pod.
Wow.
What field? Just general life advice?
Yeah. Or actually, let's go with a specific piece of
let's do
advice
it.
he probably needs.
Tell your dad's business on the podcast.
All right. So my dad, his dog is getting older, the dog's leg keeps popping out of its socket.
Jeez.
And my mom and dad are very concerned about this. And I think my dad is especially like emotionally affected by this. And what would y'all say in terms of like how Andy should approach the situation with a sense of care?
A trip to a vet or a specialist to see what's going to happen. Is this going to continue to happen and get worse? Is it something that can change? Is it how much pain is the dog in? You know, all of these things being assessed would seem first and foremost. What's his name? Andy?
Andy, yes.
Okay.
I immediately think maybe get a nice young dog, nice friend for him to hang out with while he, passes on.
That's some shit like, yo, my wife's about to die, and he's like, yo, get a new bitch. Like,
No, I don't think it's relatable in the
Just get a
same
new
way at
bitch,
all.
you
That
know what
feels
I'm
like
saying? No, I'm
that feels
actually-
like
I also
a
feel like
When
that.
it's done,
pun.
it
That's
feels
a pun, by the way.
insult.
I'm using bitch as a pun, not as a pejorative. Okay.
That was
Okay.
that
You
was
made a
very,
jump, I
very
feel
clever.
like.
But my thing is once you I was mostly just thinking about the actual condition.
Mm.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not against a young pet with an old pet.
Joe, that dude in the sitcom that replaced your goldfish when it died with another one. You know what I'm saying? Or your bird die. You know the episode when somebody bird died, and then like, you know what I mean? Joe fucking sneakily goes to the pet store.
You don't get him to
and,
hang
and
out.
tries to get a fucking new bird that look just like your fucking mama's bird or whatever, and brings it in. And you're like, yo, why is Pickles acting like that? Like,
Then they cue the laugh track right
yeah,
there.
it's like, damn, Joe.
Say that.
Crazy that you that person in the show. I don't know if I have any advice.
Yeah, I mean, how to take
What's
care of a
covered it?
dog
Yeah,
is probably not
I don't
your field.
have a dog. I've never had one. But I understand what it's like to see something you care about in pain, or someone you care about in pain.
Is it a front leg or a back leg?
It was a back leg. And also maybe this question was just me using my dad as a metaphor because my dog just died.
Maybe.
Oh, your dog as well just passed away?
R.I.P. Norm.
Yeah.
Oh, that
R.I.P.
sucks.
Nora.
I'm sorry.
Thank
R.I.P.
you.
Nora.
Yeah, yo, sorry to hear that, yo.
Are you guys thinking about getting another dog?
No, fuck that.
Oh, I don't think that's an unreasonable question. Like,
No,
a
it's
dog
just
is
you
like
stayed on plot though. I
Yo,
mean,
you getting a new kid?
But fuck all other dogs except my dog.
Yo, you getting a new grandma, yo?
a dog. You're helping a life as well. Like it's
Yo,
it's a good thing
look,
as
just
well.
go to
That's all
the
I'm saying.
grandma store and get a new grandma, man. Fuck that, man. They only like, you could lease grandmas now, man. You got
I
insurance
think my
for
Yeah,
that.
question
most,
is,
man.
is
Cost
not
less than
that
Lexus.
insensitive.
Just get a digital. They got AI grandmas. Get an AI. Drake could be your grandma.
Oh my God.
Oh man, do we even want to talk about that?
Absolutely
No,
not. We're
Good.
talking
Yeah.
about
I don't
better
care.
things this episode.
Also, I would say if it's back legs, so there was a dog that came to the shop the other day in like a doggy wheelchair where like the back
Yeah.
legs are suspended, their wheels.
That's where we at in society.
It has shock absorbers on it too, so it could go on the curbs.
Hell yeah.
Everyone gets a
Sick.
turn, yo. That's where we're
Yeah.
at in society, man.
Yeah.
Little league rules. Everyone gets a turn. It's
Hold on,
the death of
hold on.
Darwinism, yo.
we're not
No,
we're not shitting on any crippled.
No.
We're not going to shit on
I'm
any
just
crippled
kidding.
dogs.
I'm
I'm
just
over
kidding.
here, man.
Cav
We're
is
not-
taking the anti.
I'm just kidding.
I'm with
I was
the-
trying to get the Joe Rogan fans on in here. You know what I'm saying? I want them to hear the album too.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's true. You
I
gotta
like
get
we
the-
need all the ears, you know, because there's no PR going on here, so you got to get it.
And I'll also,
you could
if
take
things-
that bite and DJ Vlad it and just watch the fucking take that bite and just DJ Vlad it, a little reel of that, and this shit'll go the fuck off. I'm telling
Cav
you.
hates disabled
Yeah,
dogs.
put that as the fucking
Um,
text. Does he hate dogs? But put Patrice O'Neal's picture, not
just the
mine.
disabled ones. Yeah.
Yeah, put Patrice
we
O'Neal
need to
picture.
get like a drum set behind you for some reason. And then this will be a DJ Vlad.
And then
style.
Joe-
that is a very specific DJ Vlad studio, because then there's also the one in front of the big board at some studio somewhere. That's another style. And then there's the closer up, like nondescript room type of one.
I have never seen a DJ Vlad interview.
We about to have Joe in there, like, and the thumbnail's gonna be him with like a parrot in a cast iron pan.
Okay.
Yeah. No, DJ Vlad will get you on to like hear.
DJ Vlad's not even in the interview, or he's not even in the studio for his own.
He don't.
interviews, man.
He don't.
Like the
You don't really
laptop
see.
up
You don't
for him.
see. Yeah, you don't see DJ Vlad as kind of gangster. You don't really see him though, right? That's kind of gangster.
Because he's not there.
The other dude that has a new, and I can't remember his dude, the black dude that's like, so tell me again, how is it that you saw Diddy at the party, right? Like they
Well,
got
you mean
this other nigga.
academics?
Nah, not academic. Academics don't sound like that. Academics sound like fucking. Come on, man.
Let's not talk about that guy.
Yeah, that's like he don't sound nothing
Okay.
like no fucking. He's all
I've
treble.
never listened to
man.
academics, but like he's on Rumble, so I assumed he was a cop.
Oh God, come on. That's like
He was a
that's
cop
like,
before he was on that shit.
yo, that's I don't even know. That hit my brain on like kung fu. That sentence. That was like I don't holler at that bitch in the club, but I'm on her OnlyFans. So it sound, I don't know. There's something about anyway. But yeah.
We lost the plot there. We lost the plot.
I forgot everything.
I
But
remember-
I have been smoking some powerful marijuana for a little while now. So
Did the Men in Black shit.
yeah, once we
Well,
down
you
that
know, we
road.
had somebody on the Zanny last episode that we told him not to take, and he did it anyway. So, yeah.
I'm focused. I'm ready for the questions. You gotta get to the juicy stuff. Get the DJ Vlad. We need the views. Come
It would
on.
be funny if somebody. I always think it's crazy. Like underground, not that it's a bad thing, but underground, like people are. Nobody really wants to be like exploitative in any way. You know what I mean?
Nah.
People are
Exploit
very.
on a
this shit.
commercial
People
level,
are
they want to
respective.
be.
I mean, of course, naturally, you're a journalist, you exploit, but people don't really. You know, you think about there's certain shit you go on, and you're like, all right, like if you. Like it might be like, oh, it would be funny to go do Drink Champs or something if you're in that situation. But let's say you're somebody like Alchemist, you just know they're gonna ask you about a whole bunch of stuff that you might be like, why am I
Right.
why am I
Man, what
talking
the
about
fuck am I
this?
here?
Why am I
Yeah,
answering
there's a
what?
certain.
Why am I answering what P said
Yo,
to me when
we
somebody
got
else said
Alchemist.
this?
So tell us what Prodigy ate that night. Like, like, what?
You know, great.
Nigga,
You know, and beefs in situations that happened 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe you find it funny and like talking about it. Maybe you wouldn't. But like, we know, even like your reaction to the question you asked, a perfectly valid journalistic question.
Mm-hmm.
One of your early collaborators, who was a meteoric talent, basically has disappeared from the scene. The last records some of their last records they put out with you, you guys were friends. What's up with them now? Nothing crazy about that. Your reaction was instantly like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I asked a question. Definitely going to cut.
That would be the
All good.
leading question at a DJ
But
Vlad.
in a certain context, it'd be like, why'd you come here if you're not going to, at the very least on the record, be like, I'm not going to talk about it. Like, because that happens on Vlad. Sometimes he asks about some shit and people are like, no, we're not
Sound
talking
good.
about that.
Yeah.
Well,
But
the
it's
funniest-
expected that the questions will come.
Yeah.
And nobody's, you know, except for things where he'll be like, oh, I don't want you to talk about your open case if you can't or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise,
I
you're
feel like
expecting
DJ
these
Vlad
questions
has
to
never
come.
said that.
No, he does say that. He
I've
does
seen.
say
I
that.
feel like
does
I've
he?
seen him say that. Yeah.
You know, I don't need to throw
I
extra dirt
don't
on
think
the
it's
guy.
yeah. I don't think it's true that he's like trying to. I'm secretly trying to get them all. I don't think that's.
He
true
has a
at all.
product that he's selling, and people come on there knowing that.
He ain't
the
even the
positive
only
and
one
the
with it.
negative.
He ain't even the only one with it.
No, but I mean, I think
Yeah,
he
yeah.
pioneered a certain idea of it, and so it's like, yeah, if you're in those situations, then it's like, oh, people are gonna. And there's lots of situations that underground hip hop, going back for a long time, which is just like nobody talks about that.
I have a question for Woods that I don't know if I've asked before or anyone else has. Are you saying yes if Nardwar contacts your people?
Oh, I can't.
Okay. All right.
But that has never even come close to happening.
But I'm asking you if they go.
I
off
guess
and
I'd have
get-
to see what
have to
happens
see
because
what
it's
happens,
never
right.
come. Nothing.
I wouldn't. Nardwar would pull some shit out. Would probably.
Nah, Narwhal worse than the
Yeah, I
CIA.
don't know.
Man.
I mean, I'd be entertained, but I'd also
I'd
it
be
would
terrified.
be. I think me and Nardwar would be a strange combination because then also he could come up with things that I really didn't want to be public. But I'm also curious what he could come up with.
Right? Like that's the
Because
other thing
I'm
too.
not
You're
as public
like,
a figure as some of the other people, so it would be odd. But I'm not. I'm certainly not.
So my
thirsty for
agents
that.
over at the field said,
You know, he's on that shit. It's like, damn, nigga. Leave my grandmother out of this, guy.
Crazy.
My grandmother's AI now. Shh.
it is just crazy. Like it's almost like you just
Narwhal
wanna
will pull
know
out like a family photo, and it's
Yeah,
like, so
it's
your
fucking
actual
bugged out.
dad, and it's like, what do you mean my actual dad?
You found my father,
And it's like,
Nardwar?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but it's don't have those.
here's
type
the
of
child
dynamics
support check.
really in this situation where it's like, tell us about this beef from 20 years ago.
I could see him in a couple years trying to get.
But
you
also,
on.
there's people out there who just, they're paying their rent by just going from place to place, talking about how, because at one point they hung out with Biggie or Pac,
Yeah.
I seen Biggie in
or
real
like
life when I
if
was
you
a kid.
ever did anything at Rockefeller, there's an endless list of podcasts you could go on to talk about what it was
I'm about
like.
to put it in my bio. I seen Biggie.
What it was like when
I laid my
Rockefeller-
actual biological eyes on Biggie
Okay.
when I was a kid.
Okay.
This could get you more invites.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like bona fide in this bitch. And
Magnanimously, we will let Joe Budden ask you about this.
nah, I don't want him. I want like
Okay.
no Diddy. I want like
Okay.
I want fucking I don't know. I don't know if Joey gets that story.
I could see you on Art of the, what is it?
That's
Art
the guy
of
was
Rhyme.
Art of Dialogue. Art of Dialogue. That's the guy I was talking about. He was
That's
like,
not-
so tell us. He'd be like,
That's a different guy. That's
Yeah,
not
but I feel like you
Spice.
get on
Art-
Hot Ones or some shit with this story. Yeah.
Art of Dialogue. That's the dude, man. I'm about to we got to break. What's his name out of jail? He in jail?
Tax Stone.
Yeah, we got to get Tax Stone involved.
Crackstone is actually my guy.
Yeah, we got to get Tax Stone involved. You know what I'm saying? Make it real.
So this is a
Promote the
Nersey
record.
exclusive. This is not a Nersey exclusive. So like fucking over a decade ago, I had a brief beef with Troy Ave.
You had to move to Philly.
Oh wow, this is the
North
best part
Carolina.
of the whole episode already. Please carry on.
I mean, like I feel like Zach could just tell you the details. Shouts out Zach, friend of the pod. But like basically, I wrote a piece that was like Troy Ave is a he's a rapper.
Tell them what the headline was. Tell them what the headline was.
Troy Ave rap game George W. Bush.
Jesus Christ.
And
Interesting. I'm intrigued.
I had to do it to him.
It's a good piece. It's a good piece, to be fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I was
it's
basically
still
just
up.
like,
it's still up. Like I could find it if I'm like Googling.
Google it right now.
yeah.
Okay.
I read it yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
You should probably save it to PDF because it's on Vice, and Vice is like.
It's on the Wayback Machine. You can find it on archive.is,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But
Oh,
basically,
wait, what?
I was just like Troy Ave, not good. Also, like it's pretty
I found it.
weird.
You
that
wrote it
the-
for Vice.
Yeah. And I was like, it's pretty
Noisy.
weird that yes. That's how Trey and I know each other. Is through Vice Noisy World. But
Okay.
yeah, I was just like
He didn't like that, so it turns out he didn't like that.
Troy Ave did not like that.
Huh,
He
shocker.
he sent a guy to punch me in the head. And that was fine.
Where did he send him?
Hold on. Did you actually get punched?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
dude,
actually
this
got
was-
punched?
This was a whole thing, man. Like he went to Yeah, tell him. that
Actually,
what
I
happened.
think I remember this story vaguely. So, how does the guy know who to punch?
Twitter.
Because they read the article on Hot 97 for some fucking reason, and Troy Ave happened to be driving in his car and hears them read it on the air. And so he goes to Hot 97 and is like, yo, interview me. And they're like, Troy Ave, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'm not Jesus. I can't stop my followers. And then his buddy and I was like, this is obviously like absurd. Like, I cannot see this actually coming to any sort of head. Also, I am DJing at this bar on Friday. Here's the flyer. And then, so that's how they found out where I was.
Pretty easily, I would say, is the answer.
You told them, essentially.
Yes.
Oh, you taunted them to send somebody.
No, he put a flyer up that he was DJing.
No, I thought he was saying he said, I don't think this will ever happen, and here's where I'll be at.
Yeah.
Well, that was like my internal monologue.
Okay. I thought you put that out. I'm like, that's crazy.
No.
I'd be like, nah,
I wish Troy Ave would.
here's where I'm DJing.
Yeah, like, I wish he would pull up.
That
Bring that old New York back. Bring that old New York back, Troy Ave.
Okay, so you were actually physically assaulted.
Yeah. He like sent a guy.
So you drove up at Hot 97.
Yeah, I pulled up to Hot 97. I put Rosenberg in a headlock.
And Rochambeaued him.
Yeah. No, I was just like, this seems not real. Like, I had talked to a couple friends of mine who were rappers in the scene, and they were like, it's probably fine. And then I'm like,
fine.
Well, I mean, it was fine-ish. Like, I was outside of this bar that I was DJing at. Yeah, I was like hanging out with a friend, and I got punched in the back of the head. And
then that's
significant injuries of any kind?
One of the like less important bones in my ear was broken.
Okay, that's a significant injury.
I had health insurance at the time. It was fine. I couldn't hear out of one of my ears for like 9 months, but like,
which is bad for a music journalist, but like, yeah.
No, it would be bad if I couldn't hear out of both of my ears.
Or maybe not.
Yeah. Music journalists don't listen to anything.
Or maybe this is a crazy story. So you're assaulted. Did you take Troy after court or anything?
No, like it. Like, I think that it was sort of like it was deaded once I was hit in the head. It does get crazier though, because at this point, we may have to bleep this stuff. I don't want to like bring people's names into this, but like afterwards I call Mr. Motherfucking Esquire, who was a good friend of mine at the time. You're shaking your head?
Well, no, I'm go ahead, continue.
Okay.
I didn't know I forgot my camera was on.
It's fine. We'll cut all this. We'll edit it. But I call Esquire and he's like, oh man, he's gonna fucking kill you. And I was like, what? Why are you saying this to me? Come on, dude, chill out. And he was like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. Like, I'll like, if something else happens, I'll like call him and tell him to chill out. And then out of nowhere, again, gonna want to bleep this, Sky Zoo emails me and he's like, hey, let's get brunch. And Sky Zoo is like, okay, so tell me what happened. And like, I tell him and he like listens to me in a very like emotionally open way, like a therapist. And then he's drinking a mimosa and we're having like egg and pancake based things. And he like waves his hand like he's in a fucking mobster movie and he's like, that'll never happen again. And I mean, nothing happened to me again. So I just assumed that Sky Zoo like helped me in some way, shape, or form to dead the beef.
Never again.
Exactly. Yes. And I was like, damn, Sky Zoo, I really loved your album with Ninth Wonder when I was in college. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, Sky's
This
a good
is
dude.
crazy. I've never heard that whole
that's
story.
good
Yeah,
for you,
you've
man.
never
That's,
told me that part of it.
That's crazy.
You should
Oh.
animate that.
Yeah,
Well, we can't even keep it in the show, so we're not
If you animated that story, oh man.
we'll drop it 20 years from now.
You should have had this in the book.
I mean,
man.
that's not that
See, you guys
inflammatory
listen,
of a
man.
story. Troy
You listen,
Ave, Troy
I got-
Ave has had a lot of other things happen
Hold on,
since
hold
then.
on. I gotta call a timeout, man. Why the shit that would make this the shit that it needs to be? That's what it needs. This is come on, man. You don't want nobody to listen to this shit.
Tag
That's the
him in it.
fucking. This is
No,
the fucking.
we're keeping these stories in. We're just bleeping out the names. We're bleeping
yeah.
out the names. We're
But
keeping
bleep- you
stories
gotta
in
listen.
the
I don't know
story.
why you bleep Sky Zoo's name out.
No,
Don't
I'll
bleep out
keep
Sky Zoo.
in.
But this is
Yeah.
also what you got to do. Bleep out the names in a way similar to how the names were redacted in the Diddy indictment.
Oh
You know what
my
I'm saying?
god! Oh my
Where-
god!
where
the
it's
fucking
like
footnote.
you-
Well, we're bleeping out that name too in here. Goddamn.
Nah, don't you bleep it out the same way where it's like you bleeped it, you know what I mean? But you know
What did
who
they
I
do?
said.
They left it in the footnotes?
They did shit like they were
Yes.
like we redacted the name, but it's a rapper from Philly who dated a famous rapper from Queens named Nicki Minaj. They was doing shit like that in the document. It's like
Also,
that's
he
not
yells a lot,
that's
man.
not redacted, you assholes.
gotta-
Yeah, and all of the things. It's funny how your whole story foreshadows the arc that will surround this man in the future into much more significant consequences.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
What?
because he really wasn't trying to let it go for anybody to say anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you know, Tax Stone had his own things that he was doing, and up there. Yeah, that's a crazy story.
Well,
But anyway, you were saying yes, this will be the most listened to episode ever. So
so we got to talk about Cav's fucking album. You see that pivot? That's some journalism.
that is
service
really good.
journalism
That is really
tricks.
good. I figured the only two options were that or be like each of us must now tell a story we've never told. Which you
I
know,
tell the story about when they had beef with Troy Ave once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That'll
from
be
that
for
neighborhood.
part 2. But yeah, let's hear about your album, dude.
Oh, you want me to talk about it? I put out a record on last Friday. I don't know when this is coming out. I put out a record April 19th on Backwood Studios called Different Type Time. It's an hour worth of music produced by some of the beat producer scenes, you know, most celebrated in a lot of ways. Shout outs to DiBiase. I gotta acknowledge him. Even though he didn't produce on the album, there's a lot of producers who are on the album through his mention, you know. So you know, yeah, good record. We'll come on here and be
You
like,
record
"I
it
reckon this-"
with Joe.
No, I didn't.
Okay. My next question is, how did Joe fail you by not recording you?
I recorded other songs with Joe though after I recorded this album. So, you know,
I'm doing what I can.
still
I mean,
What's
I guess like
my question is like this album. What do you feel like this makes this one different than the other ones? Like the headspace you were in, or just like what you're talking about, or like you in a certain stage of your life, or
y'all heard the record? I'm just curious, by the way. I gotta.
I'm gonna be honest.
I've only got like one pass of it, so I haven't been able to like get deep into it and shit. But like, yeah, man, like
I'm gonna be honest.
I
I,
was
was recording an audiobook today and I ran out of time to listen to it. But I've heard the singles, and the
Okay.
singles kept making me be like, holy fuck, this dude's so good. I'm so hyped for him to come on Nersey.
No, I appreciate
I
that.
wouldn't
appreciate
have come on here unless I listened to the album at least once. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't even saying that to like incriminate y'all. It was more. I think I'm working on how to objectively represent my own body of work. So, I recently started listening to it again, but we had this completed project for a while now. It was just a matter of, putting some thought into when it could be released, and doing our best to put our energies to put in, you know, a good body of work out there and a good product. I think at the very least we succeeded in that. As an artist, yeah, I was definitely in a unique headspace when I started making this project, because it was my pathway to recovery in terms of feeling in love with making art to share in the public domain, you know, and not feeling like you know, I want to make things that matter. You know, maybe that's like a pressure I'm putting on myself, but I want to make bodies of work that make impact and that matter to people, you know what I'm saying, or at least can outlive me.
I mean, I feel like that is the dilemma of the professional artist in a way. Like, whether, like, you know, if you're a writer or a musician, where it's like, this is the way that I eat. And so, like, I have to, like, sometimes, like, I personally feel like I need to pump shit out in order to, you know, pay my half of the fucking mortgage. But then I'm not proud of it. And then when I am proud of it, it's usually like, I mean, often it's like not something I'm getting paid a ton for. Like that might be more of a writer problem than
No, it's not. It's exactly what I'm talking about, to be honest. At the very least, I'm hoping that the record is a demonstration. And the demonstration is about figuring ways to realize that you're not obligated to that type of time matrix, literally. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's you know, societal or in our industries, so to speak, or just the rate that we consume and not participate actively in our lives or in our culture. You know, I'm asking people to take an hour, give me an hour of your time. So that already, by that request, is a big request these days, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, the paradox is that commercial entities could be like, here's all the episodes to our show, and the hype machine told you to watch it, and you'll sit home and your entire Saturday watch that show. Right? So I'm disrupting that, and the project is rooted in that, and it was inspired through my personal experience having to go through that.
I mean, yeah, no, I can only imagine sort of, I mean, I guess this goes for all of us, really, but like especially you and Woods and Joe, where it's like, this is, you know, when you are like an independent artist, like so much of what you do is it's very much on the margins per se. Like you're like there is a sea of shit out here, not like shit isn't bad, but just stuff where everything behind it is, there's an engine behind it that like is unfathomable. Like Taylor Swift, the amount of promo that Taylor Swift is getting is like insane. And it's all so that you listen to like 3 songs from the record. And like, I guess, so what you're saying is like the title Different Type Time is like basically a shot against that. Not that, I guess what I'm saying is like, so how are you dissing Taylor Swift with this album?
I think it all can exist. I just am reminding everyone that there's more than one way for it to exist. So even in the visuals that are coming out so far, they're an expression of time where I'm mostly still in places and the world is happening at the rate that these other things are informing. At the same time, it seems more and more we're expressing this need to have something genuine to connect to. So how are we having that when we're being forced to move at a speed that's pushing us closer to our demise? You know what I'm saying? So just remembering to boil it back down to like the essence of the moments we're looking for, and doing my best to recreate that in you know, through expressing it on the record in various instances. That's why it is even the features that are on there, the only rap features, you know, that, you know, for those who saw it or whatever, is the unhoused men that I ran into while making the project. And I ran into them on the same day in 2 different cities, not even in the same time zone. You know, I ran into one in Detroit, and then later that evening ran into one in Dallas. And shout outs to For Show, the producer, but he's based in Dallas. I actually pulled up in Dallas while I was in the process of creating, and I was like, I'm just gonna pull up on niggas, not even super announced like that. And he was doing a beat set, and I pulled up. And that night, while we're chilling, that man encountered me and just rapped for me for like 8 minutes. One of those,
wow.
men, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have had that moment or those experiences if I didn't trust my gut to go to these places to create them. You see what I'm saying? So that it wasn't like I set out like, yo, I'm gonna make a project called Different Type Time, and this is what it's gonna be about. I was doing my best to get in touch with like why it matters, real time. And then it dawned on me that all of this was my attempt at expressing that, down to why the visuals are the way they are. Like I gotta, those are a lot of photos that I'm self-taking. Like I gotta take 1,000 photos to give you like fucking 20-something seconds, 30 seconds of image. You know, I gotta really move different to execute that, literally in the physical space I'm in when I'm taking those. And some of those places that I was in are not places that people feel comfortable being still. So they get to ignore what's there. You know what I mean? I was in Philly, places that people do fucked up ass walking tours. You know what I'm saying? I was in
I live in Philly. You can say the neighborhood.
Nah, you know, but you know what I'm talking about though.
Yes,
so
absolutely,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like now we doing like, there's a lot of weird undertones to that to me. It's high key racist, really, but you know, you do like, oh, we're gonna do a walking tour at Kensington. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my, are people actually doing that? Like,
yeah, that's the shit on YouTube. But I filmed in Kensington.
The YouTube shit is like, sorry, yeah,
I filmed in Kensington, but not like that. I filmed in San Francisco, just not like that. And many
I mean, I think there's a way to film in like, I guess you call them fraught areas, that is a way of honoring those areas and honoring the experiences of the folks who live there.
Yeah, and also, you know, can you be still there? That's really what you're getting at. These people who's putting it up the way they put it. Like, nah, that's why you're doing a walking tour. You can't stand there and talk to nobody. Because when I'm standing there doing something like that, imagine how many people come talk to me about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
That's how you get a moment where somebody can now break it down. I'm talking to this brother, and then he ends up busting, yo, Ricky Ricardo, baby, I'm home, out here trying to eat with him. I didn't know he was gonna do that. So he on the record. Yeah. He on the record now. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. I wish I knew his name.
Crazy. Oh wow, you don't even know his name?
Don't know his name. He walked up to me on the street in Detroit. He started talking to me. He seen my brother doing a time lapse. Again, we got to be still. He came in and inquired. He said, what y'all filming? I said, the building. And then he started running it. Like, oh, you know, we built all that. You know, the ancient Egyptians. He started going there with it and shit. But I ain't even dismiss him. I was like, word, I know. I knew what point he was trying to make about math and architecture. I was like, no doubt. So we just started talking, and then we was running it. And first of all, you know, just keeping it a buck, like, you see older black men talking, I'll be listening. All my records got old black men talking to me. Lemonade got old black men talking.
That's my favorite part of living in Bed-Stuy.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All my records pretty much have some type of black men talking to me. These are not found recordings that I download off YouTube on these records. They really be people talking to me. You know what I'm saying? So he started talking to me, and I was listening, and then in the conversation, he was like, yo, you know, sometimes people don't really say nothing to me because I'm homeless. I was like, I didn't even know you was homeless. You know? So he invited us to watch him go sing at a church. And that's when I was telling him, like, we actually waiting for our Uber. I'm going back to the airport. You know? And he was like, well, you know, can I share a little something for you right now? And I was like, sure, you mind if I film it? You know, whatever. He was like, yeah, I thought he was going to sing. And then he dropped that fucking verse.
Wow.
I was like, what the fuck is going on out here? And then I get to Dallas, and that man approached me in the street screaming at me. Like, yo, I know you. You rap. Like on some shit like that. And For Show was there. he was there with me. You know what I'm saying? And he spit a whole bunch of shit. So it was like very real. I was like, okay, he had to get that off.
I love that.
He's on the record. Those are the rap features.
Shit's dope, man.
Yeah, that's
Deja Vu
incredible.
is crazy.
I guess we're gonna just like tell people to listen to this shit instead of doing a Joe Budden style bangers segment or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. We usually end our show by recommending songs in a segment we call the Joe Budden podcast style bangers segment. But I think everyone's Joe Budden podcast style banger is going to be a different song.
Manigolds.
Cavalier.
Manigolds for me. Manigolds for me. And the second half of that song.
And
My personal favorite.
I think Deja Vu for me is the craziest one.
Quelle likes that one a lot.
Which one?
Deja Vu.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's dope.
That's Messiah music. So.
Yeah, man.
And Manigolds is Ruffian Kick. That's one of the producers that basically because of DiBiase ushered that in.
Yeah, he created a whole community. It's crazy.
Yeah, he really did. Shout outs to that whole Flip a Beat Club, everything. Like it's so important. And you know, just keep on some real shit. Like that's kind of like low key my dream. You know when they I've been a rap nerd since I was a kid, so I don't know if you ever seen like Nas's EPK for Illmatic. Have you ever seen that?
But
it's really dope because it's in the account is from the producers. It's like Q-Tip and Large Professor and Pete Rock. They're all talking about why they wanted to work with Nas.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, I feel really like some of us it's really important to acknowledge like, yo, that's ill that a lot of these producers don't have to have, we're at a point where like they don't have to have rappers on their music to have careers at all. They could put out instrumentals. Knowledge puts no rappers on his shit. You see what I'm saying? So
where he puts like archival Meek freestyles.
he gets permission to do that too.
Oh
You know
wow,
what I mean?
I didn't even realize that.
So, you know, the fact that like I feel like almost like I'm in an anointed group, you know, with a lot of these like producers who you don't always see work with rappers, like have produced with me or like contributed music for this record in particular too. You know, you got a record. Obliv is on the record. Messiah music on the same record. You know, Wino Willie all on the same record. Multiple. Quelle did not just songs, but whole moments on that record.
Yeah.
Then, you know, just it's a lot. I think it's interesting.
Woods, do you want it? We could go out. We could do a little more. Woods, do you want to talk about the record for a little bit? What made you put it
I
out
mean,
Backwoods and-
I'm super impressed by it. And jumped at the opportunity was presented to me by Cav, and you know I jumped at it. We just had to keep talking about it, working on it, making it happen. You know, he sent me early versions of what he was doing with the record, and I weighed in. And but it was definitely one where Cav kind of came in with what he was doing, and it was already a lot of it was done. And just had everything already going in his own ecosystem. So, yeah, I just kind of got in where I fit in and came backwards with it. We just working in it. Super excited. Super excited. Obviously, he was on the last Arm & Hammer album, Diabetic Test Strips, and was on a compilation.
How much does a diabetic test strip cost?
I don't know.
Per
I don't
year.
know. I don't know. That's a good question, and I guess it would depend if you're an insurance company or if you're somebody trying to buy them on the black market because you want to resell them to people who don't have insurance. You know,
I think that's the
questions,
correct
but I don't know how much they cost.
So a sliding scale. Is
Yeah.
what we're gonna go with.
Yeah, I don't know how much they cost. I got my own problems.
An important question is, what's both of your tour situations looking like? Like, where can people see you in person?
Also, where can they buy your merch? That's a big one.
Yes.
How can we help people?
Yeah, we'll help out your upcoming
you
tour,
can
Kev.
definitely go to backwoodsstudios.com, correct?
Yes.
And that's with the Z's, right?
Yep.
BACKWOODZSTUDIOZ.com to purchase all the physical merchandise for the record.
Bandcamp.
You can go on Bandcamp as well.
You will be able to get it if you're in Europe. It's going to be with Rush Hour Records in Amsterdam, HHV, RCC. So,
And then I'm going to be on tour from May 1st, basically most of May.
Okay.
Initially with Rap Ferreira, which is the bulk of the tour, opening up for him. And then a short run that's budding with Quelle Chris and Denmark Vesey. But we do 4 stops so far in May. And I'll have records for sale there. And you can find that by going to cavwins.com/tour. And you can see all my dates. Or you can look up.
So that's cavwins.com/tour.
Correct. CAV.
We can have the links in like the description for the episode.
Yeah, we will.
If you want to see the shit that I got to go through, you can go to the Wrong Artist Cavalier on Spotify and see all my tour dates come up for the Wrong Artist on Spotify. He's an artist named Cavalier from the Czech Republic, and somehow he's touring with Rap Ferreira. With Rap Ferreira and Quelle Chris and Denmark Vesey, it'll come up on Spotify for him, but not for me. So
I have a question from somebody actually texting me, ironically, about your album.
Oh, really?
And they want to know if you're an air sign.
No.
Quick. Answered quick.
No. I feel like we should not tell anyone what your sign is. You should just like let them know you're not an air sign. I think I speak for all of us when I say that there absolutely needs to be a Kevin Woods Part 2. And we need to get SLAVA, our other co-host, on the show. Because Slava's Canadian.
Y'all are gonna hate him. Y'all are gonna hate him.
No, you guys are gonna love him and hate him.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Color me intrigued.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for the time.
I was sold more cocaine than anybody on this podcast right now. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to be part of the indictment, so I have no opinion.
It's
I'm
fine.
sure.
No, he's already
He already did his time. It's fine.
I didn't even know. I didn't even hear the name you said.
He's the Vice cocaine guy. Like, if you remember that story about the Vice guy who trafficked cocaine, that was
somehow I remember the story about you getting punched in the head, but not this massive story of what sounds like a significant cocaine bust. All right. Well, thank you guys.
You. All right.
Yeah.
Billy Woods Cavalier, thank you for coming on Nersey. I have been Drew, co-hosted by Trey, severely missing SLAVA, who is performing some community service shit, probably. And as always, produced by Steel Tip Dove, and our music is by the Pulitzer nominee Craig S. Jenkins. All right. Goodbye.
Peace.
Thanks
guys. Later.
Go star. That shit it tastes like before. You know what I mean? Time travel, nigga. Ain't nothing, no. Hit it the way it tastes to give me deja vu. Ain't nothing new except the way I do. Deja vuing off the center of my cheek. I'm waiting in the sewer drain for losers facing defeat. It factor, clip mapper. Seen Shangri-La, should call me your majesty. With all due respect, your honor. She seen I had the gall to double down on my dharma. Dapple with the shakes of the townships and sacred geometry. From trapezoidal, void in the middle. Community pillars, empty syringe cylinders. Colt 45s, 90-degree wave Dillingers. Millimeters blast, you asked me today's math. See, you just like the gigahertz.